A few years ago, I watched a company win one of Australia's top business awards. They were celebrated on stage, they were fast growing, the business that everyone wanted to be. Within a couple of years, they were gone. They grew, boom, they were all gone. Why? Because they ran out of cash flow oxygen in their business. And I've watched that pattern more times than I can count. The thing that kills businesses like that usually isn't the strategy, it isn't the market, it's the one structural skill that almost no founder is taught: anticipation. And if you're a founder scaling between $2 and $20 million in revenue and beyond, this is the skill that decides whether your growth compounds or it completely crushes you. It's the difference between working harder every quarter and actually crossing across the leverage line and scaling your business. And this is part one of a two-part series on capacity planning. Part one is about predict it, see what's coming and set the number before that number breaks you. Part two is how do you build it? Building and protecting the capacity to hit that number. First, we've got to predict it, then we've got to build it. But first, some quick context on me. I'm Dr. David Dugan. I'm the founder of Abundance Global. We're a business advisory and coaching company. And my background's unusual for this type of work. I did 22 years as a dentist and 18 years as a commander in the Australian Navy with active deployments including in the Middle East and the tsunami response. What those careers taught me was the same skill: how to read systems, diagnose under pressure, and decide from data, not from all the noise that's out there. And since 2010, I've applied that to over 2,400 businesses that I've advised. Their service businesses, their product businesses, their manufacturing business, engineering businesses, e-commerce, all types of businesses all across Australia, the United States, Europe, and the Middle East. We track real profit and loss, balance sheet, and cash flow, not opinions. And as we like to say, it's data over drama. And on that exact topic, we practice what we preach. We do what we say to our clients and our members. How do you know that? Well, we've been a finalist in the Telstra Best of Business Awards 3 times, and on the 3rd time we won in the category of embracing innovation. That's where an external company has looked at our numbers, our financials, and gone, yes, you are what you say you are. And here are the 5 things we're going to be covering in this training. Number 1, anticipation. Anticipation is power, and I'm going to prove it to you with a really simple 60-second game. 2, I'm going to go through the 80% switching gears rule. It's the single number that tells you when you need to act. 3, what we're going to go through is start with the end in mind. What do you actually want the business to give you? 4th thing we're going to go through is do the math. The formula that turns a vague goal into specific quarterly targets that you can hit. And the 5th one is, can your capacity in your current business hit the target that you want to achieve? I'm going to give you the 2-line product model and the formula that helps you to work it out before you run into a capacity wall. And at the end, I'm going to introduce you to a client of mine, Michael. He's a fantastic guy. He used the exact thinking I'm going to take you through in part 1 and part 2. He took his business from $1.4 million to a $13.5 million run rate in less than 18 months. So if you're thinking, I'd love to do the same thing, and you're growing your business and you go, this is really cool, keep in mind that what you felt as natural of probably expanding the business is probably the most expensive thing that you can do right now. And if there's one specific number that tells you when to make that move, that number is 80, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. And if you want to cut to the chase, then grab the capacity planning playbook that we use with our members. It has the numbers game, the 80% rule, the Joy Builder roadmap, the link's in the description below. Grab it when you can, let's get stuck into it. Here's a 60-second exercise that changed how I think about running a business. And whenever I run it with a business owner, the result is the same every single time. Today, I'm running this exercise with someone who has never seen this exercise before. Is that true?
True.
Okay, here we go. Let's do it. Now, this is the numbers game. There are 36 numbers on the page. They're scattered all around on the page everywhere. The job is really simple. Find number 1 which I'll give you a clue, is there. And then circle it. And once you circle it, you then draw the line. I'll give you number two here. So you go 1 and you circle it, and then you go to number 2. You've got 1 minute on the clock, Julia, and you've got to get around. There are 36 numbers. You've got to get around and connect the dots. You ready? Okay. Let's watch how Julia runs this one. Okay, Julia, let's go. Oh, and you got to draw a line from one to the next. Yep. And hold it there, and you go to the next one. Yep. Okay, notice her eyes are darting around everywhere. She's moving quickly. There's a little bit of frantic because the timer's on. We've got about another 30 seconds to go. No pressure. Eyes are darting everywhere, feeling frantic, reacting to whatever's in front of you. 12, here we go, almost there. Keep going, keep going. Where are we going? What do we got next?
Okay, got it.
How are you feeling?
Oh, this is great. Fun.
That was strained fun. Looking for the next thing. Where's the next thing? Come on, get the next deal. Get the next deal. What's happening? Okay, keep going, keep going. Where is it? I gave you another 10 seconds.
Who am I meant to be beating?
And that is time. That was actually 70 seconds there. All right, so what score did we get?
17.
So we got 17. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this exercise again. So this time what we're going to do in here, take one, you're going to write the number 17 on there. Okay, so now we're at 17. Now watch this. We're going to do this one differently because last time was a little bit frantic. She was jumping from one thing to the next thing, but this is a little bit different. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the page. So exact same numbers. The difference here is I'm going to move it down this way, and then I'm going to draw another line through here. So now what I've done is I put it into 4 quadrants. What you notice this time is number 1 was here, and number 2 was down here. Number 3 was sitting over here. So you got the first 3 laid out. And what you'll notice is that it goes clockwise. The next number is in the very next quadrant. Are we good with that? Okay, this time now we're going to do, I'm going to put the timer on again. And let's time it. And the last time we got 17, let's see what number that she gets to this time. All righty, you ready? Steady, and go. All right, a little bit more smiling on your face.
Much easier when you know the trick.
When you know the trick, that's right. Now, you could say that there's a little bit of pre-knowledge, but once you get past like 6 or 7, no one's going to remember where the next spot is, especially here. All right, we're at 35 seconds, and we've already hit it. Keep going, keep going. That's 40 seconds down, actually. There we go. 30, 31. Boom. All right. 10 seconds ago, 50 seconds, she got that one done. Now, what was the difference? She didn't know exactly where each of the numbers were going to be, but she knew. That was our timer. She beat the timer. But she knew where to look. And that's the key part, is that we can anticipate, we can predict the future. Now, what I see happens is most business owners don't know how to anticipate the future, and that's why they're like on the first example, where they're frantically going from one thing to the next. On this example, they know the general trajectory where they're going. This time, take 2, we got to 36, boom, boom, and we did it in 50 seconds. Way quicker, and we got a lot further. And that's how you can run your business as well. And look at the difference between these two. Every time I run this, every group, every founder, the score improves by 30 to 50% at least. And some people double it, just like Julia did. In fact, hers, she had 10 seconds more on the first one and 10 seconds less. Nothing about the numbers changed. The only thing that changed was the ability to anticipate where the next one was going to be. And in business, that's what I call capacity planning. That's the whole game. Most founders run their business though, like we saw in round one, their eyes darting from one thing to the next. They're reacting to whatever came in that week. Did we hit revenue? Cash is tight. Is the team okay? It feels like you're working hard, but for most people, they're just reacting fast. The founders who scale calmly run the business like we did here in round two. They're still putting in a heap of effort, but they're getting momentum instead of just movement. They know roughly where the next number is going to be, so when it shows up, they're already there. One of the best quotes I have on that is from a guy by the name of Henry Lucci. And Henry Lucci was the founder of Time magazine, and he said it cleaner than I've ever heard it before. And what he said was, business, more than any other occupation, is a continual dealing with the future, a continual calculation, an instinctive exercise in foresight. Or, as I like to say it, the degree to which you can accurately predict the future in your business is your measure of your entrepreneurial skill. Not how hard you work, not how smart you are. It's how well you can see what's coming and meet it. It's not fortune telling. It's not like, oh, nice, good vibes. It's data over drama. Anticipation isn't a personality trait. It's a discipline. So the taxi industry didn't see Uber coming. The hotel industry didn't see Airbnb. And plenty of fast-growing businesses don't see their own capacity wall coming at them either. The founders who scale calmly and sustainably aren't smarter than you. They're just looking further ahead. So where does anticipation start in your business? It starts with one number. And I'm going to show you exactly what that number looks like with a glass of water. Most founders try and hire when they're already drowning. By then, it's already too late. So let me show you what capacity planning actually looks like. So think of your business as this glass. The glass is your current capacity. And see the water in here, that is your work that's coming through. It's sales, it's deliveries, it's promotions, it's the whole team load. Now watch what happens. I'm gonna fill this up and we get to about 40%. It's like, oh, this is okay, this is going well, I'm pretty happy, but I'm hungry for more. Let's do a little bit more. Let's build some more revenue, let's crank it, let's get a new ads campaign going on. We get to 60%. Business owners kind of like this. We're starting to get some good results and we're getting into the zone. This is great, but we need more. We're going to get to a little bit further. Let's get to 80%. Now, 80% is an important piece because this is where the rule kicks in. We call it the 80% switching gears rule. At 80, you don't keep pouring more into the same glass. What you do is build a bigger glass, because here's what happens if you don't. You go, yes, let's go more. We get to 80%. This is great. We keep on going further. 80 becomes 90. 90 becomes 95. We're right at the peak. Let's make it happen. We've got to milk this thing as much profit as we can. Team starts dropping the ball at 95%. Things start happening. Delivery starts to slip. No, we get more. Let's go more. Let's go more and more. And then it starts to spill over. And how do we know this? Your delivery slip, your best team member quietly looks for a job somewhere else. And that's what most founders think and see. And they get to that point and they go, oh, it's now time to hire at 95% or over. How do I know that? Because I've done that. But here's the hidden trap when you're hiring at 95%. A new team member doesn't add more capacity. A new team member actually reduces your capacity, especially for the first 1 or 2 months, probably 3, when they're getting on board and they're getting trained. And who's going to train them? You're going to train them, or someone who's senior in your team, and that person's already at 95%. So you hire to fix the capacity problem, the overload. And what happens is the actual act of hiring makes the overload worse. So here's what we want to do, is we want to make sure that we build more capacity before it overflows. That's the 80% rule. We go, all right, we've got a $2 million business. Let's go to a $4 million business. And now we got this thing full and we're at the 80% level. And then what do you do there? You build more capacity. I'm going to go 4, I'm going to go to 10 mil. But as you know, from 4 to 10, it's a completely different vessel that you need. But now what we can do is now we've built enough capacity that all this potential that's sitting out there is ready to go. So we now can pour that in there before we build any more capacity. What that now means is I might be happy with that capacity. I don't need to go any further than that before I build another one. This is where I see people go wrong. They're using their staying capacity, wanting to get this result, but they're never going to do it because the vehicle's not been built for it. And here's what that looks like on paper. The demand keeps climbing and capacity gets added late every single time. You catch up for a moment, then the demand pulls ahead again and again. And what does this life give you? This sort of life is you always feel like you're behind and there's never enough time. So how do we change that? What do we need to do to fix that? Well, that's what we do here. We want to be doing the switching gears at 80% level. This is the fix. You build the step before you need it. The first move is up. You build the capacity first. You add it, yes, you hold it for a bit there. You get to the 80% level, you then build it again. You then go across. You're always a little bit ahead of the demand, all the way there. Then you build it again. This way, you're always ahead of the demand that's there. That's the trigger when you get to 80%. When you do that and when you do it that way, the demand never outstretches your capacity. And that's the key part. It never touches this line. I know someone's going to say, but David, my profit's in this area here. What do I do about that? Well, that gap or that headroom is exactly what we need to be building in. That headroom, yeah, you go, okay, that might be your profit, but why would I want to carry this 20% of capacity that I'm not using? Fair call, I understand that. Here's why. That gap, that headroom is not wasted profit. It's what it actually costs you to meet the demand that's already coming. It's the room that lets you onboard the next person, build the next system without all the wheels falling off and with all the things getting all crazy and you getting super stressed. It only works if you know what your demand is, that is your promotions, your leads and your conversion numbers well enough to trust this demand line. That's why this section is all around the predict half. You learn to write, you learn to do and understand how to build the capacity at 80% by knowing what's coming. Now, one thing that matters, this is a whole of business number. So let's say you're a service business, like a law firm, and you've got, say, 6 lawyers. One might be at 85% capacity, another is at, say, 40%. You don't read the capacity for just that one person. What you want to do is you want to read the combination of the whole vessel, the whole glass, especially your delivery team. And when it hits 80%, that's when you shift gears. So here's the rule. Hire at 80, not at 100%. If you take one number away from this video, and that number is 80. So the thing is, waiting to 100% feels safe. And yet, it's the most expensive thing you can do because you'll spend the next 6 months just recovering from your own growth. Capacity has to lead demand by a deliberate margin. But 80% only tells you when to move. It doesn't tell you what you're building your business towards. And for that, you don't start with your team, you don't start with your product, you don't start with your marketing. You start somewhere where most founders completely skip. And that is, what do you actually really want? Almost every founder I know plans their business from the wrong end of the equation. So let me show you the right end. Most founders I meet plan like this. That is, hey, we've got this team and what we need to do is we need to run some marketing promotions and campaigns. And hopefully those are going to sell at a certain conversion rate. We're going to get a certain number of product and life's going to be good. From there, we're going to be able to make some more revenue. That's backwards. That's reacting to whatever the business delivers and hoping that it's going to be enough. Let's smoke some hopium and let's run some more marketing campaigns and that'll solve our problem. It's not the way to do it. Now, the right way to do it is the exact opposite. What we want to do is we want to start with the end in mind and reverse engineer it from there. So the first question is, what is that you want? Like for us, we call that business owner joy. To know what you want, there are 3 components. The first one is how much revenue do you want to be making? And also profit and cash flow. What's the time in, on, and out of the business? And what's the impact that you want to make? Impact to yourself. Like what do you want to learn and develop here? impact to your economic community that you serve, and then impact to the wider community at large. Once we know these three things, we talk about this as being business owner joy. This is the place that we start our thinking and ask the question, what do you want? Then we reverse engineer it from here and we go, well, for us to hit this target, our revenue target, our product needs, we need to sell a certain number of this product. That product needs to also free our time and also give us an impact. To know how many product we need to sell to do this, we need to know what sort of marketing campaigns, what sort of promotions do we need to run. And then to do this, we need to know how many team and what does our team, our organizational structure and our capacity plan, what does that need to look like to support the promotions, that supports the product, that supports the ultimate goal of what do you want. The thing is, what I see happens is most business owners miss this step and they end up with a job, or they end up being self-employed. And self-employed is all the worst things of having a job and all the worst parts of having a business. I don't want that for you. So we're going to take you through how you can map from exactly what you want and reverse engineer it. Let me make this real for you. We started working with a large 7-figure specialized professional service business, and they'd been running for 12 years. Now, before working with us, they'd put in a fair bit of effort into their planning. But the problem was they would plan from year to year, but the goals just didn't work. And especially the capacity planning part. And what happened was it was extra difficult because the high-end billable hour people, they were so specialized, it took them 6 months before they could recruit a replacement. So what we did is we went through this process and we mapped the future that they wanted. We went years out, 10 years, and we went 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. We then engineered the business knowing exactly the product we need to sell, the promotions, and the team. The result was it increased by 600% its revenue, not by hustling harder, but by working backwards from a clearly named end. And before you decide that's not your industry, hear this. This applies to any business that relies on people to scale. A product business still needs people to grow it. A service business needs it even more. So what we do is start with the end in mind and then we reverse engineer the rest. So don't plan from where you are, plan from where you're going and then reverse engineer it. That's the major point. Every tool in the rest of this video hangs off that one decision. Naming the end is one thing. Putting the numbers on it is where most founders stall. The formula is 4 lines and it takes 90 seconds to do. But before I show you that, if you're watching this and recognizing the pattern, you're growing fast, but you're feeling like your planning's poor, there's no structure underneath, here's your next move. If you want help protecting and predicting the next 12 months into your business, then all you need to do is book a growth driver call now. The link's in the description below. In just 20 minutes, we'll look at where your capacity is right now, where it's heading, and the single highest leverage move that protects and predicts your next 12 months. No theater, real conversations. Now let's get back to the training because the next step is the 4-line formula that almost nobody runs. There's a 4-line formula that turns a vague 12-month goal into 4 achievable quarterly steps. It takes about 90 seconds to do. It's really simple. It'll give you more clarity and confidence in your goal than anything else you'll do this year. And almost nobody does it. 2 numbers and just 1 calculation. Let's use a real size example. Let's say a business is doing roughly $200,000 a month right now. So put $200,000 down. And so that's roughly a $2.4 million business as we're going forward. What we want to do is we want to double the business. So let's say we want to double the business. The business is now doing $200,000 a month. And we go, well, in 12 months, we want to get in the place that we can double it. So let's just say we want to go to $360,000 a month. That's our goal, okay? So step 1, where are we right now? Step 2, where do we want to go? Now, 360 times by 12 is obviously over $4 million, but it gives us a good idea. Now, what we want to do is we want to have a look at this and go, 200,000 and 360,000, what's the difference between these two? Well, the difference is 160,000, that's B minus A. Because we have and that's $160,000. That's the gap on a monthly run rate. Now what we want to do is go, well, we're going to do this by quarters. We have 4 quarters in a year. We're going to divide this number by 4. So divide that by 4, and that leaves us with $40,000. That's the lift that we're required every quarter. Now, here's what we're going to do. We want to watch the arc. We start at the now. So for the now, we're at $200,000. And what we want to do is we want to lift it up to the next 3 months. So the next 3 months, we're at $240,000 a month. So yes, it's going to be 200 for each of these months. But by the time we get into the 3-month mark, we're at $240,000. Then what we do is we add another 40 on there and we go to $280,000. That's by the 6-month mark. By the 9-month mark, we now want to go to $320,000 per month. By the end of the year, we add another $40,000 onto it, and we're at $360,000 a month. The key with this is like a ratchet. It only goes up. When we get to 240, we can hold that. The question we ask ourselves is really simple, and that is, we don't have to look at the big goal from $200,000 a month to $360,000. That can seem overwhelming for people. That's like going, is the $2.4 million business to going to a little bit under $4.4 million business. However, when we look at the now target and we go, all I need to focus on is what do I need to do to add another $40,000 on? Rather than the big overwhelm, this big number here, we just go, that's what I need to achieve. Then from this one, we then go 280, and it's a ratchet that only goes up. The key thing when I take people through this, they go, oh, I couldn't double my business. And I go, okay, but can you put another $40,000 on in this next quarter? And every time I take people through this, they say the same thing is, I can do this, because they can. And that's the real shift that I want for you as well. And that is, I want to take people from overwhelm to clarity, from a dream to a real plan, 1 quarter at a time. And one more thing. If you straighten out this arc, that top line now becomes your revenue on your budget. Month by month, you now know your revenue goals, so now you can plan your spending and your profit underneath that. Most founders never do this, but the ones that do, stop guessing. What I want you to do is to start with the 2 numbers, and the rest is just math. And the better you get at doing this, the further out that you can see. Some founders can barely even predict the next month or the next week. But the best can predict 12 months out and get to it within a few percent. That skill is buildable, and this formula is step 1. So now you've named what you want. You've set your quarterly targets. Here's the question that nobody asks. Does your business have the capacity to hit the goals that you've just set? That's what we're going to do now. We call this set up to win. And what this does is it's focusing on your product model and your ability of your business to deliver it. It's 2 simple bit of math, and they're really important. We're going to do here, part A is to work out your team's current capacity. So what we want to do is we want to start with your delivery team specifically for this exercise. And that's a trap a lot of people get in. They think of the whole team. For this purpose of this part, is just look at the delivery team. And what we're looking for here is we're modeling the capacity of your team to deliver that. If you've got someone in marketing and sales or operations, brilliant, that's awesome. But they're not delivering the core product. So they don't go into this number that we're calculating. What we're looking for is look at your capacity to deliver your product or service. So let's use an example here. The average person works about 1,687 hours per week. That's 37.5 hours a week times by 45 effective working weeks. So let's say you've got a team of, say, 10 people in your team, and 6 of them actually deliver your core product. So that means 6 times 1,687, that's just a little over 10,000 hours. Let's call it 10,000 just for keep the numbers simple. Now what we want to do is we want to divide that number by how long it takes to deliver one of your core product. Say your core product takes about 50 hours to deliver end to end. For example, you might be building a website, or the average time a lawyer takes to settle a matter if you're a law firm. So we have 10,000 hours and we divide that by 50 hours. What that gives us is 200 of our core product that we can sell a year. Not only that, 200 of our core product that we can deliver in 1 year. That is your team's current capacity. So now what we need to do is go to part B is, can this current capacity, can it help you set you up to win for the goals that you've just set? Now we need to work out this part of the math. So what we do is we take the number on the other page and we said, well, how many product can we sell in a year? And in this example here, we say 200. Okay, what is the core product price in your business? Let's just say, for example, it's $15,000 to deliver that core product. Now what we know is the current potential of this business is 200 of our products multiplied by 15,000. That gives us our maximum potential revenue. And in this example here, that is going to be and there's your ceiling with your current team, $3 million. That's the maximum potential revenue with your current team, with your current pricing model. In other words, that's all this business can earn today. It's very simple and no one does the math. Now here's the verdict. Does our current team allow us to hit our goal? So that's what we do on this page over here. We're still setting us up to win. Here's the verdict. You're holding on to that maximum potential revenue and we're going to compare that against your goal. So say the goal, which we did an example for, was $4 million. Yeah. And we ask ourselves the question is, can our business capacity deliver that goal? If the maximum potential revenue that we can achieve is greater than your goal, boom, you can go ahead, you're set up to win, you're ready to rock and roll. Your current team can carry the capacity for the target you've set. Your job is just about getting in there and executing it. However, if your maximum number that's potential on the business is less than the goal, then what we need to do is to fix it before we go in and build it. This is not a sales problem. It's not a marketing problem. This is a capacity problem. No promotion on earth gets a $3 million machine to a $4 million result. So you know exactly what you need to do to fix before you spend another dollar chasing the demand that you can't deliver. And that's the whole point of predicting it. You find the wall on paper first, not in the middle of your busiest quarter. And notice the numbers here. This is the same business. Its target is $360,000 a month. We then worked out what the capacity of the company is, and we go, well, it's 200 units, which we know that 200 units by their core product price gives them $3 million as its target. The quarterly targets were never going to save them. The capacity that they have was the wall that was always there, but we worked it out on paper. When you predict it properly, you now know exactly what you need to fix and in what order to fix it. You've now got the 5 tools that we have in part 1, which is the predict half. Stay with me for 60 seconds and I'll bring the whole chain together and show you exactly what's waiting for you in part 2. This is the system most founders never install. The founders who scale calmly, they're not smarter. They're not working harder. What they've done is they've just installed one really important skill, the skill of anticipation. First, we predict it. We see what's coming, just like that. Remember that round 2 of the numbers game that we did with Julia? She could see where the next quadrant was coming and then where the number was sitting. We then read the signal. We move gears at 80%, not at 100%. We know what revenue we want to cross and what targets we want to hit for revenue, time, and also impact. We then engineer the rest. You do the math. B minus A divided by 4, and then you ratchet your way up the arc. Then you test your capacity against, well, the capacity of your current business against your goal that you're wanting to achieve. You want to know that now on paper before you get into that busiest quarter that you've ever had. And the degree to which you can accurately predict the future in your business really is your measure of your entrepreneurial skill. That's not drama, that's data over drama. One last thing. A lot of founders set goals in their business that are simply just not achievable, and they wonder why. I keep on pushing and I don't get results. It's not because they aim too high, but because they weren't clear on what they needed to do. And if you don't know what you need to be doing in the very next 15 minutes, then the first thing to seek out is clarity. What we've just taken you through is a clarity exercise. Get clear on your goal. Get clear on whether your business that you've built today can actually achieve it. This is part one, which is prediction. Prediction is half the job. In part two, we show you how to build it. We get into the build half, how to milk the capacity you already have before you spend a single dollar more, and how you can recruit ahead of the need, how to find your bottlenecks. I'm going to show you the one tool that holds all the ideas, all the 10 principles I'm going to take you through on one single page. We call it the Crystal Ball Capacity Plan. All you have to do is run it once a quarter. And that's where I'm going to introduce you also to our amazing client, Michael. 9 years in business, had a business at $1.5 million in revenue, and just on 12 months later, he's at $13.5 million run rate. You can do the same thing, but why it worked was because he used the principles that we're taking you through. He's not unique. This is what we do at Abundance Global. We're seeing this pattern repeat across hundreds and hundreds of businesses in every industry, scaling from businesses from 2 million to 20 million and beyond. That story and that tool, that's all in part two. So if you want help installing the capacity planning in your business, then all you need to do is to book a growth driver call now. The link's in the description. It's just 20 minutes. What we're going to do is look at your numbers, look at your capacity, and look at the single highest leverage move you can take in the next 12 months. Also, the playbook with every tool that we went through today is in the link below. I'm Dr. David Dugan. Remember, keep it simple and make it robust. I look forward to seeing you in part two.